When it's Kurt, I'm shooting up. And while I'm shooting up, I need to say something about trans women in sports. I was an athlete all of my life. I played women's volleyball. Um, I was in the NCAA, in the UAA division of Division 3. UAA is a private school league and it's pretty good. Um, and that's what I played in. Women's volleyball. I was in the women's locker room. We all showered together. Um, I had to wear spandex, and it was traumatizing because I didn't pack a cock. And I was just out there in my tidy whities pretty much. Uh, I think I would have probably been able to perform a lot better if I had been comfortable in the outfit that I was wearing and how I was presenting. Um, but such is life. I didn't really get that experience. I've never had the experience of playing sports as myself. And I can tell you that I hate sports right now because I've never had the opportunity to play as myself. I'm really afraid of people, so I don't anticipate having a time where I can play sports as myself in the near future. I would probably like it a lot. I like to work out a lot as myself, whereas I hated working out when I was being a woman. Um, I didn't like none of the ways that my body could look. I liked. So what's the point of working out to look buff in a woman body when I'm not a woman? Um, but anyway, so it would have helped me a lot to be able to perform as the person that I am. Uh, it would have made me like sport a lot more. So when trans women want to play women's sports, there's a reason for it psychologically. It's gonna make them feel better and they're gonna like sport better if they're playing as themselves. So that's the first thing I want to get through. The second thing I want to get through is this this preoccupation with trans women playing sports, and basically the supremacy has told trans women they're allowed to play sport, but they aren't allowed to win because as soon as they win, they're going to become a national news and everyone's going to be wanting their heads. So trans women, you're allowed to play, you aren't allowed to win right now. Um, every person that participates in an event, a sporting event, deserves to win. Um, until they don't win. You know, like everyone has the opportunity to win. Okay? If if a trans woman won, that makes sense because she's in the competition just like everyone else. Okay? Trans women should be allowed to win. And now I know that sounds crazy and that would like drive my parents nuts. My parents aren't transphobic, but they're definitely cis supremacists and they don't want a trans woman winning, especially if she transitioned post cis puberty. If she had her cis puberty and then went through trans puberty late in life, my parents, if they were playing against me, would be like, nah, that's not allowed, that's cheating. I know my parents would say that. They would flip a shit. Um, but the truth of the fact is that trans people should not be getting cis puberty. They should be getting trans puberty. And we should be facilitating that in our society to allow trans people to get trans puberty at the correct time, aka putting transness in our sex education, teaching trans people that this is an option, letting people choose the puberty that they want, allowing people to get on puberty blockers if they aren't ready to choose. All of these things we should be facilitating in society so that trans women don't have to go through cis puberty. They could just go through trans puberty and be more akin to their peers. Every single trans person that does not get trans puberty, that is stuck in cis puberty, is a failure of the cis supremacy. And because you guys have failed these women, in my opinion, they should be allowed to play sports as a penance because y'all fucked them up. I'm still in a fucked up state. I'm like in the middle. I still got tits. Okay? I'm not very happy with my body. I'm happy that I got it. Like, it's the only body I'm gonna get, so I'm fine with it. But I missed my fucking puberty. I grew tits. It was traumatizing. And y'all need to understand that it's traumatizing for trans people to go through cis puberty, and that it's just as big of a deal if trans people get the wrong puberty as if a cis person gets trans puberty by accident and goes through trans puberty instead of cis puberty. It's just as big of a deal. And your norm is that trans people have to go through the wrong puberty first to spare the cis kids from accidentally getting the wrong puberty. Well, you're fucking up trans people. So, anyway, trans women are allowed to play sports if you fucked them up. As long as they meet the guidelines, they should be allowed to play sports. Because it's going to make them feel better to play as themselves. That's point blank it. And they probably wouldn't do as well in male sports. Because I can tell you from playing female sports that it's very hard to play when you don't feel like yourself. I've had many panic attacks on the court. It's not fun. Sports should be fun. It's a fun activity. Trans women aren't going to dominate women's sports anytime soon. Okay? But they should be allowed to win. And they should be allowed to play. And if you're just saying, yeah, they can play, but as soon as they win, I'm going to rip their head off, that's not sportsmanlike. That's not nice. Because people in an athletic competition are allowed to win. No matter what their body is or no matter who they are. That's just how athletic competitions work. So you can't say only cis women can win. That's how we maintain women's sports. Well, if a trans woman wins, a woman's also winning. Okay? Just happens to be a trans woman. So, trans women are allowed to participate in women's sports. That's absurd. If you're concerned that they've gone through cis male puberty, then you need to stop pushing trans people into cis puberty. And I think it's funny that these bills often come in tandem with a bill that prevents teens from getting HRT. So they're like, trans people, you can't play sports because you got fucked up and we gave you the wrong puberty, but we aren't going to let you get the right puberty, so you're just not allowed to live. You should just rethink your existence because we aren't going to make that easy for you. Anyway, like, fuck y'all because, I mean, the people that are trying to pass these bills, because these bills are literally for children. and, like, there's some shit happening in the NCAA level too, but most of these bills are against children playing sports. And these children have gotten the right puberty at the right time. So they're very identical to their cis peers. And you're just basically telling kids that are participating for participation trophies that they can't play. That's a gross misconduct of the law. And if you aren't pissed that they're doing this to children because of your worries about trans people dominating sports, it's It's not gonna happen. And even if it does happen, most sports are team events. So just make sure you got a tranny on your team. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think the concern is ridiculous. I also think it's like kind of mean to cis women to be like, cis woman can't win against a person on estrogen hormones because the person is going to be more fit than them. Like, cis women can take care of themselves. Stop worrying about them. You know? Like, when people are like, trans women can't be in locker rooms because a cis man's just gonna get in and rape the cis women. Well, that's not a problem with trans women. That's a problem with cis men. Maybe you should rethink what your cis men are doing. Because that's a little bit crazy. Anyway, if you want to prevent someone from being in your locker room, prevent me from being in your locker room, because I was probably hard the entire time I was in the women's locker room. I mean, I can't show it, but probably was. So now, I mean, I blacked most of it out, but I would be hard in the men's locker room too. I'm a bisexual. This is why I'm happy I don't have a penis that can get hard. It just gets wet, I guess. This is TMI, Kurt. Anyway, I'm gonna shoot up here in a bit. In a second, I'm gonna shoot up. I shoot up in my thigh. Also, just to be fair, like, if I shot up during playing NCAA women's sports, I couldn't play. Because you aren't allowed to take testosterone. But I think you can get a medical exemption so long as you keep your levels below some level. I didn't take testosterone while I was an NCAA athlete, so I wouldn't know. I did quit, though, and become the coach, so I assume that some people probably thought I was taking T. I just couldn't play. Like, I was losing my mind. Also, my coach stopped playing me because I don't think I was very stable. Like, I wasn't a known good. Like, you can put Kurt in and he can perform. So it was just better if I didn't play. So I just stopped playing. And I became a coach. I know lots about volleyball. Like, lots. I would be a very good coach. Anyway, I'm gonna shoot up. Wow, that was just like, I did really good this week. Papa? So anyway, let trans women play sports. They aren't gonna hurt you. Also, let trans men play sports. Because we will hurt you.